Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, we're ready.
Thank you very much.
I think Mr. Bloom will take us first, or Dr. Bloom will take us first, and then I will supplement whenever there will be a need.
Yes, we have now laid charges against Ms. Lerato Madyo, who was the Chief Financial Officer that Babita Deokaran confided in and frankly was betrayed. And we feel that this is a key person of interest to be investigated. We've laid a total of 7 charges under the Prevention Combating Corrupt Activities Act, Section 34, failure to report it, which is a criminal offence, and conspiracy to commit an offence. In terms of the Criminal Procedure Act, Section 18, attempting, conspiring or inciting another to commit an offence such as fraud. And there's 4 sections of the Public Finance Financial Act. The most serious one, which is a criminal offence for an accounting officer, is Section 81, financial misconduct for willfully or negligently failing to exercise assigned powers and duties as prescribed. So we really want people to be charged. SIU is doing very good work, seizing assets. Various officials are being disciplined, but they're lower level officials. We want to get the masterminds. We want to get the person who ordered the hit on Babita Deokaran, who wanted her silenced. And Lerato Madyo was the Chief Financial Officer of the time. She covered up the evidence that Babita Deokaran had brought forward. Babita Deokaran recommended 104 million rand of payments to these fake companies to be frozen. They were temporarily frozen by Lerato Madyo. Babita Deokaran was murdered, and then shortly thereafter she released those 104 million rand payments to suspect companies. And of course Babita had flagged in total 850 million rand. So Lerato Madyo, a key person of interest. We're really going to push this case. We've laid these charges in all seriousness. We're going to follow up this case. She really needs to tell us what she knows. And there were very few people that Babita Deokaran had told about what she suspected about Tembisa Hospital. So who tipped off the murderer? That's the key thing, and I think that's why we're here today, to lay these charges, to get the bottom of this and have justice for Babita Deokaran and recoup the money, the 2 billion rand that was stolen from Tembisa Hospital while patients suffer from inadequate facilities. Thank you.
Right. Well, I think the most important thing here as well is to then say that we cannot allow a situation where officials that would be implicated in wrongdoing are allowed to then just ride off to sunset. In this instance, as we had said, 3 million rand had been paid while somebody was on suspension and was allowed to then also cash in their pension. And yet we still have a matter on our hands here that needs to be responded to. We have 2 billion rand of corruption that still needs to be responded to. And she is a person of interest here. She must come and account for whatever would have happened. And in this instance, Panyaza or anybody else in that political clique will not be able to then protect them. They must actually come and face the full might of the law. And we're expecting that the South African Police Service and any other law agency will be able to then do that.
Have you engaged them, the Department of Health, about this matter? What are they saying? Well,
we have called, Jack Bloom is on record for a number of years calling for a full-on investigation. In fact, we have been calling for this department to be put under administration, because we have seen time and time again the failures to spend money adequately, the return of money or overspending, and yet money doesn't really translate to anything tangible. People are still sleeping on floors. Children are still dying on a daily basis, because of negligence. Certain operations haven't been able to then be carried out because dirty linen, unworking air conditioners, and so on and so forth. So we are saying you cannot continue to have so many billions that are wasted year in, year out, yet we don't see any improvement within the health sector, and yet people are allowed to carry on and be moved from one department to another as if we don't have a crisis here. We've asked for a full-on investigation. We've asked for the department to be put under administration, but this has been met with negativity and been met with just us being fobbed off, and this is not something that we can continue to have.
And the most important thing that I think we also need to understand is we are standing here and fighting for justice for Babita Deokaran. She could not have been murdered for nothing. This is 100% a call for justice, 100% a call for the masterminds who called for the assassination of a whistleblower to be brought to book. We need justice for Babita, and we need it now.
Sorry, and then some would say the 6 suspects admitted to having been the ones who pulled the trigger and killed them. And
Well,
the matter would have rested in that way. What do you have to say?
Well,
justice and
the matter cannot rest in that way. If you follow the sequence of things, Babita reports that there is wrongdoing that is taking place that needs to be investigated. 19 days later, she is murdered. 2 weeks later, after her murder, the full payment is then being paid. So surely there's something that is untoward that is taking place there. She cannot just be a victim of a robbery, opportunistic crime that was taking place. This was calculated. This was something that was aimed at silencing her, and we now need to then get to the bottom of this. To then say that people that had been arrested, those were hitmen. Those were hitmen. But the question is, what and who is behind it? And if we can get to that, then we can begin to talk to the rot that is in the Department of Health. We can talk to the rot that has landed not only Babita Deokaran, but a number of officials that have been killed. And this is something that is going on in government beyond just what is happening here with the Department of Health. You would know that in Ekurhuleni, somebody was assassinated. There's a number of people that are close on unraveling certain things. Auditors that are able to then look at what is happening, that get murdered, that get silenced. And this is something that government cannot allow to continue to happen. Lest we are saying that we are running here a mafia state where people who want to then see the right thing being done are going to be executed.
So in light of the commissions and ad hoc committees, do you feel then that there is a need to zoom into the Tembisa Hospital in the form of an inquiry that looks direct into it?
Well, I think there is something deeper that should be looked at Tembisa Hospital. But as I said earlier on, it's not just Tembisa Hospital. The Department of Health is fraught at a national level. That needs to be looked at. It cannot be that we're talking 2 billion rand in one hospital. We're talking 1 billion rand in the Northwest. What are we talking in the Northwest, in the Northern Cape? What are we saying is happening in KZN? What are we saying is happening in Limpopo? So this needs to be... No, I'm saying everywhere. You can look. I'm saying at a national level, we can look at all the departments. So whether you want to then investigate the Western Cape, you can do that. But the point of the matter is, you cannot have a department at a national level that is riddled with fraud characters, that is riddled with wrongdoing, and then we are then not doing anything about it.
Mr. Msimanga, my last question would be, Babita Deokaran was murdered 2 or 3 years ago. One would ask you about your timing of coming in now and opening a case now. Why did you decide to come in now? Why you were quiet all along? Because
well, we were
you should have known before that Lerato is involved. Why did you decide to come in here now?
It is very interesting that you would ask that, because we have been saying for the longest of time that there needs to be a full-on investigation. Jack Bloom has actually said a number of times, even when we went to the Babita Memorial Service, we did say that this is something that needs to be looked at. What is making this more interesting right now is the revelation that after the police had initially not got into the phone and looking at the records, that has now emerged to then say these are some of the things that we have been talking about, but we didn't have evidence, and now we have in black and white things that are linking this individual to these things which was never there before. So you could say it was 2 years or 3 years later, but the fact of the matter is that we're getting certain information that was never there at that particular point in time that has now been made available.
Sorry, I think you should look at the SIU report that was released last week, and that's the catalyst for a lot of things. It's now been confirmed. There's these huge syndicates, and they were tipped off by the Lerato Madyo as Chief Financial Officer. Somebody had to tip them off. If it wasn't her, she must explain who else knew about what Babita Deokaran had uncovered at that hospital. So I think, we've taken this opportunity now because we're just frustrated nobody's been criminally charged. All these years later, it's very good to attach assets, so we commend the SIU for doing that, but the criminal charges have to start. So that's why we've started the ball rolling. We're going to follow this case, and we want to see the masterminds, the syndicate heads, the kingpins, the people who bought Ferraris and Lamborghinis. They need to be charged and appear in court.
What would you say to those who might say this is a stunt because next year we're approaching local government elections?
The DA has been fighting this all the time. We've been raising it persistently, and we will do this election or no election. This is what the DA stands for. We want justice, and we will push regardless of, whether it might be convenient or inconvenient timing. This is a justice matter, and we've been raising it persistently. And the need to lay a criminal charge is absolutely blatant to do it now, because SIU is continuing the investigation, and here we think one of the chief suspects has basically got off scot-free. She was allowed to resign. She was allowed to resign with a pension after paying 3 million rand while she was suspended on full pay. So we're saying here is a person of great interest, needs to be investigated, and we've put forward charges which we will hope are lead to her being in court, along with other implicated people. She probably knows, lots of things that hasn't yet been disclosed to the SIU and other investigative organs.
What are the charges once again, sorry?
Well, let me explain one of them. It's in terms of the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act, Section 34. If you know of any amount of money over 100,000 rand that might have been defrauded, and you fail to report it, that's a criminal offence. Now, it's quite a low amount, 100,000 rand. I mean, here it was an amount of 850 million rand that the Chief Financial Officer sat on and didn't report it. So there's a major breach of the Anti-Corruption Act. And another section is conspiracy to commit offence. We do think there was a conspiracy. There were other people involved. These syndicates are conspiracies. Under the Criminal Procedure Act, attempting, conspiring, or inciting another to commit an offence such as fraud. Well, there was lots of fraud going on, and there were lots of people involved, and the Chief Financial Officer had to be central to all this. We know that she covered it up, and we know that she released the payments after Babita was assassinated. And under the Public Finance Management Act, there's a very serious criminal section, financial misconduct for willfully or negligently failing to exercise assigned powers and duties. If you are the Chief Financial
Let me pull that.